Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a weird movies podcast, joined today, as I often am, by Giles Edwards, the soon to be temporarily Canadian Giles Edwards. Eh?
Hello. Yes, I'm actually on the social media. I'm often mistaken for a Canadian, which suggests I should maybe scale back my civility or something to let them know I'm a tough, mean, surly New Yorker.
I would have thought you were often mistaken for a Brit, particularly since there is a Brit with your exact name on Twitter.
Oh, it's yeah, my name isn't the most common British name, but it shows up enough. So yes.
So today we have a few movies, new release movies to go through. Some news. There's some last minute news that I didn't warn Giles about, but I'm sure he'll be able to improvise on. And then we're going to preview a little bit Fantasia Film Festival, which is where Giles will be starting as soon as next week. Giles, do you see the screen?
I do. I see a young brunette with a quizzical expression.
And over her shoulder is
Over her shoulder is a sort of stylized, perhaps serpentesque looking profile of an individual, side view, open mouth, a couple rows of pointed teeth with a wavy tongue, a sharp isosceles triangular kind of eye, very expressive in a way that is dissimilar from the human to the left in the image.
And this image is of the sadly recently deceased Shelley Duvall,
Oh, yes.
which is the news I did not prepare you for. Of course, Shelley Duvall, most known to us around here for the movie, which this still is taken from, which is Three Women. She was also in another canonically weird movie, Time Bandits, in a much smaller role. And she's been in just any number of marginal movies, not marginal in quality, but marginal to our weird movie list. She's been in a Guy Madden movie, probably Guy Madden's worst movie, Twilight.
Hello.
Then she's been in a Stanley Kubrick movie very famously, The Shining, and she's been in, of course, a large number of Robert Altman movies. Altman discovered her and has cast her in several of his classic 70s movies
Oh,
into the
yes.
80s. Um,
I can
Giles,
say.
any thoughts about Shelley?
Oh, well, another thing, part of her career I'd like to bring up was the fairy tale theater program that she was heavily involved in and was a great little um,
Hostess.
children's program. I recall it fondly and glad that that would be somewhere toward the height of her fame, I would guess, and that she would, that she pursued that was gratifying. And yeah, I've seen, as you say, discovered by Altman. I have seen McCabe and Mrs. Miller from 1971 and cannot remember her, even though she's a obviously very distinct presence on screen. So, but yes, a sad loss today. I guess, oh gosh, yes. Last time I was on a podcast, we'd had the news about Sutherland, so I should probably maybe withdraw to the background for a while
You're
to
killing them off.
keep these beloved actors alive.
Well, yes, and we're all very sad. Shelley Duvall, a wonderful actress, very unique, and did almost all oddball roles and worked with some of the best directors out there. But speaking of people who are still thankfully alive, I have another still that's up for another piece of news. Giles, would you
Yes.
describe this still, if you would?
Um, I will try. I'm not sure I can. I know who it is, but I don't know. Are you still sharing your screen? I might have clicked
Do you
something
not
and
see it?
hang on. Let me. There we go.
You see it?
Okay, yep, I see it now. All right, well, this gentleman is seated in a delightfully crowded office space with all manner of volumes and DVDs and those big archival books of just random paperwork stuff. It's a older gentleman in a ochre and light orange and red plaid shirt, very distinguished looking fella here, slick back, silver peppered hair, and he looks like he's in the middle of saying a word. So not, I guess there's a candid feel to this picture of this very noteworthy gentleman.
Yeah, I took this as a screenshot, and apparently I caught him at a sort of bad moment. Not the most flattering picture, perhaps, because his mouth is a little distorted here. It is Alex Cox, however, the director, and this is his room, and he has a number of unsold copies of his autobiography, stacked beside him, which are probably
Okay.
promotional copies that he will sign and send out to people. Um, I hope to have some of those for the 366 Weird Movies Guide hanging around very soon. But Giles, why do I have a picture of Alex Cox up here?
Alex Cox has made a number of films over the years, and it seems he is hoping to raise the cash for what he describes as his final. It's dubbed even My Last Movie, and it is he plans it to be an adaptation of a Gogol story that apparently was very much beloved by Mel Brooks, and is going to be filming it in a more contemporary setting than the first half of the 19th century that Gogol wrote during. So he is hoping to get cash together to get this done as his farewell to cinema.
What are you seeing on the screen? Have I?
I still see a picture of the
Okay,
director.
you still see the director. All right. So yes, it's an adaptation of Dead Souls by Gogol. Um, However, my understanding, and I'm looking for it now, is that it's going to be set in the Old West. So it wouldn't be
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I have the blurb here. Our story begins in a nameless place in the Arizona Territory in 1890, which isn't by any stretch contemporary, but that is some 40 years after the death of the author
Yeah,
of
but
the
it's
story.
closer in time to. It's not contemporary in the sense
Oh,
that
no.
it's set in the current times. Um, just wanted to make that
Oh,
clear.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
was,
it's set in 1890. Dead Souls was a novel about it was, set in Russia and very much concerned with the Russian class system, which makes you wonder how he's going to adapt it to the Old West. The plot is that you could buy and sell souls who were serfs in the Russian aristocracy, and they didn't have to be alive for you to sell them because they would still be on the census form and you would pay taxes on them. So a gentleman goes around offering to buy up dead souls so that the landowners won't be taxed on them before the next census comes around. And he amasses a large number of dead souls, which he then plans to use to make some loans. So I'm not sure how this is going to adapt to the Old West, but I trust Alex Cox will do something fun with it. Um, he's not looking for a lot of money. He was only originally looking for $75,000. He got that very quickly. As we write, he's up to $112,000, and he has a stretch goal, two remaining stretch goals. At 125, he's going to shoot in El Condor, which is it was a like a fortress that was built for the movie El Condor, and it's in Spain, I believe. So he wants to shoot a scene there and even rebuild part of the set. And then if he gets 150, he's going to invite a cameo from Johnny Garco, who I don't know, but he's a spaghetti Western star. Um, so Alex Cox wants him in the movie. So we will have the link to that project if you are interested in funding it. He describes it as his last movie, not because he never wants to make another movie, but I think he explains in the in his pitch video that he simply doesn't really know if he's going to be 70 and he doesn't know if he'll have another chance to make a movie. So
Mhm.
um, this is his last movie with an asterisk. He does talk also a little bit about Repo Man 2, saying he doesn't have enough funding to do Repo Man 2, which is just fine with me, to be honest. Leave the original alone and we'll be fine with that. So that's Alex Cox, his last movie, if you want to help fund it. And once it's done, we'll likely check it out.
Oh yeah.
New release movie, poster, Giles, describe.
Coming. Okay, this is like imagine sepia, but a striking electric blue dominating the image. Front and center, we have a young woman. I happen to know she's blonde, and she's wearing something similar to like a formal girls' boarding school outfit or some such like professional wear for a young woman some number of decades ago. And let me just make this a little larger here. And she is standing with a look not quite of anguish on her face, but behind her, superimposed over a flower petal looking group of thing are, I'm guessing, the faces of four other characters, and then standing two full bodies of characters, and they are all looking about with different directions with different expressions. The fully visible characters in height are wearing very different types of dresses. One of them looks sort of nightclub slinky. The other looks just kind of wandering the grounds of your massive estate slinky. I believe she is holding a dagger of some sort that, with the color scheme here, the blade comes across as bright pink to match the pink lights in the background and a sort of pink tonal wash over other sections of this image. And this is the movie poster for
The
The
Blue
Blue
Rose. Oh, yeah.
Rose.
Prompting me. I was waiting for you.
Uh,
And it has a tag. Something very strange is happening in Hollyweird, old Hollyweird.
mm,
Um, so this is described as a 50 set surrealist noir. Um, and I'm gonna say that this thing is kind of influenced just a tad by David Lynch. Just a
the
tad.
title sort of
The title itself
kind of really, you
kind of
know,
lends it to that um, interpretation. Also, we should point out the
there's
presence
a
of Ray
name.
Wise.
Yes.
Wise, who does a lot, to be fair, does a lot of
Yeah.
oddball, low budget movies. They got Ray Wise in here. If you look at the trailer, it'll remind you of Lynch. There are scenes that just are reminiscent of the nightclub Silencio scenes. There are scenes of people in rabbit masks,
Yeah, that looked cool.
Mary Pie. Um, I think it's festooned with Lynch references.
Well, Hollywood News advises that fans of David Lynch are sure to be entertained with this head-scratching and kooky story.
Ah, yes, indeed. So I wasn't wrong about the David Lynch connection. Yes, if you watch the trailer, you'll see a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
Lynch. There's some Kubrick in there too. And some critics said it was Georges Franju, which I don't really see, but it's low budget. The acting didn't look particularly good, other than Ray Wise to me, not from the leads. Probably something we'll be able to overlook.
Yeah, it was hard to.
Go
Oh,
on.
oh, I was just gonna say, I watched the trailer as well, and the acting to me came across perhaps as affected.
It could
Um,
it could be.
Like the happier moments in Mulholland Drive, for instance, there's a sort of, campy veneer put over certainly the protagonist's behavior, which is what I was reminded of, not to bring David Lynch up again.
Yeah. No, no, no. This movie has nothing to do with David Lynch at all. It could be, it's kind of movie that obviously is low budget tribute to a bigger director who typically works with much larger budgets that allow him to accomplish anything he sets his mind to. I think it could be entertaining if it throws enough stuff at the screen and it's just, kind of wild and constantly evolving. And the trailer does suggest that there's a lot going on with
It did.
flashbacks and fantasy scenes and so forth. So I think it could work. It's going to be on VOD, so we'll likely check it out fairly quickly.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
it
because
is
my curiosity was piqued, certainly.
okay. So that's the Blue Rose. Moving on to a physical media release, highly anticipated by a lot of people, certainly by me. Well, not really. I've seen the movie, so I don't know if I'll buy the Blu-ray, but it would not. It's a Blu-ray I wouldn't be certainly unhappy to have on my shelf, and that is Giles. Describe what the.
Oh, well, there's a youngish boy, perhaps in his early teens, standing behind a hedgerow, looking up at the sky with a face of pleased wonderment, I'd say. And I can't really blame him because what this kid is looking at, I presume, is what we're seeing in the background of him is any number, dozens upon dozens of neat little, almost spherical spirit, maybe creatures with cute little pointy arms and leg things. So he is seeing something atypical, much as we are seeing something atypical ourselves on this cartoon animated style. Is it a steelbook? Oh,
Um,
there is a steelbook. Yes.
I don't know if this one is. So it is The Boy and the Heron, of course. It is being offered in multiple different formats, one of which is a steelbook. I'm not sure if we're looking at the cover to the
We
steel.
are. We're looking at, yeah, I could tell because there you can see the separation on the spine there. The Blu-ray edition has a more punk variant of the kid with buzz cut
Very
side.
punk movie, yeah.
As punk as Ghibli does.
So this is The Boy and the Heron, won an Academy Award, I'm pretty sure. And it's another Miyazaki adventure movie. It's sort of a surprise. Uh, he unretired for a second time to make this movie, which harkens back in a lot of ways to his early work. Some differences, the protagonist is a boy instead of a girl, as it was in most of his
Mm.
movies. There is a strong autobiographical element because the boy is coming to terms with the death of his mother who died in a fire, and Miyazaki's mother died in a fire. It's also set in the World War II period when Miyazaki would have been a child. So there are a lot of autobiographical references in there, which makes it especially interesting for Miyazaki fans. Very good movie, not up to the level of Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle, but come on, what is? I mean, that's not saying very much. Um, Blu-ray, you got like three different choices of buying this on Blu-ray with a DVD and or on Steelbook with a 4K UHD and a Blu-ray or just a regular 4K and a Blu-ray in plastic packaging. So all sorts of ways to get this one. It's got bonus features like storyboards, interview with composer Joe Hisaishi, interview with the producer, interview with the supervising animator, and a music video. Also coming with a poster. So a lot of stuff there for Miyazaki fans will want to check that out. And the movie is also recommended as
Yeah.
well.
And looking at the page on Amazon, it seems a good many of his movies are in delightfully colored steelbook options, which I imagine when lined up would make it a beautiful chromatic experience for the eyes.
Yeah, could be, could be. So a lot of collectors will be interested in that. I don't think I have to sell a Miyazaki movie in particular to people. Uh, People will be interested in that. This movie may require some selling, however, because it is essentially unknown and we don't even know much about it. But we have a still here, Giles. What do you
We
see?
do. All right. There's a gentleman standing in front of a terraced structure. Could be in a stadium. I see some green, so maybe an observation platform. But he dominates the front. He has each of his hands raised. He's wearing an elaborate rig of sunglasses, but held on with a headband. Has a pinstripe suit, got a white shirt, black tie, even has a pocket square. And to complete this formal covering of his body, his hands and head are all done up in white bandages. So we see no actual person, I guess, but I presume there's a human somewhere beneath this array of white cloth and suit.
Yeah, sort of an Invisible Man tribute. And do you know what this is called, Giles?
I don't actually, and
Oh,
I may have just closed the tab that would have told me.
this is Fata Morgana,
Oh, okay.
which is not to be confused with the Werner Herzog movie from a few years later. This is 1966, kind of with a pop art aesthetic, and it's a Mondo Macabro release.
Hmm.
Spanish movie, terribly unknown. They pulled it out of nowhere. I've never heard anything about this movie before, but it sounds very much up our alley. I'm going to read their product description from Mondo Macabra. In a near deserted Barcelona, abandoned by those who believe that their end of a serial murderer is somehow inevitable. So their end at the hands of a serial murderer. Beautiful model Jim, a debuting Teresa Gimpera, is willing to stay and tempt fate. However, her search for her boyfriend Alvaro might not bring the safety she seeks. Surreal and arty psychological thriller from director Vicente Arandas, co-stars some people I've never heard of, and so on. There is, Giles, do you happen to have the IMDb page up?
I do.
There's one review for this movie that made it sound interesting, one user review, and almost no
Okay,
one
let
else is
me
going
let
to
me
assume
see what
that.
we got. We have one that says, all right, there's a futuristic fever dream.
Probably it, yeah.
All
Is there
right.
more than one review? I only
There
thought,
are two reviews. One, and they both sort of make it sound interesting in different ways. One starts, Fata Morgana is a great Werner Herzog film I saw over 30 years ago, but I was pleasantly surprised to recently discover an even better film, Vincente Aranda's Fata/Morgana, a terrific comic strip fantasy from the 60s.
yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. I kind of doubt it's better than the Werner Herzog movie, but perhaps it is. I don't know.
If it's,
So
yeah, I guess at least I'd hope if it's different enough to, allow for, regarding it as something else entirely.
the
But
things I liked about that review, it was because he compared it to movies like Modesty Blaze,
yeah.
Death Lays an Egg, Danger Diabolique, Deadly Sweet, and Barbarella, movies that the reviewer says attempts to do psychedelic 60s live action comic strips. And he says that this beat all those movies to the punch. I don't think Death Lays an Egg goes in that, but that's a minor complaint.
And the fact that he's even mentioning it suggests a knowledge that
Yeah. So yes, he has a wide knowledge of European uh, art slash genre cinema of the time. and it probably fits into that sort of genre.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, all the movies that this person compares it to, this reviewer compares it to, are movies that are interesting to us, and I like movies from that 60s early psychedelic period.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, this user review comes 14 almost 14 years ago, and so somehow
Yeah.
managed to dig this
Well,
up
it's probably
before.
Spanish, probably a Spanish.
Oh, that could help. Yeah.
Um, so that's Fata Morgana from Mondo Macabro, available only on Blu-ray. Um, we have one last thing to get to, which is our preview of the Fantasia Festival, which we will probably have to go through a little quickly. What I asked Giles to do is to select 5 movies that he was interested in seeing at the festival, and I am going to do the same. We're going to see if we have overlaps or
Oh,
not.
I bet there are going to be at least two.
I bet there are some overlaps, but we shall see. So, Giles, what was your fifth most anticipated
Oh,
movie?
fifth. Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
Fifth
well,
most
no,
would
okay,
be.
let's go first. We'll go down the list, so we'll be sure to get them all. Go with your first most
Oh, well, the first one, it was conveniently toward the front of the alphabet. Animalia Paradoxa just kind of screamed, "Hey, we should check this out."
Animalia Paradoxica made my secondary list, so, but
Oh,
it's
you're second.
definitely, yeah, describe it. I'm bringing it up.
I can read the little blurb here,
Can you
and
see
then
the image though? The images.
yes, I can.
Okay,
To describe that, oh, it's
you
okay.
can
Yeah,
just read the programmer's notes if you
yeah,
like.
I can read the programmer's notes. I got the programmer's notes right here on my own screen. This is a foreign movie. Come on, internet. Here we go. Animalia Paradoxa, which is a Spanish film, is about an amphibious humanoid search for water in a labyrinthian post-apocalyptic landscape.
Okay.
In the opening Irish shot, a curtain of plastic is pulled back by a decrepit mannequin hand. On a dusty editing machine, a poem appears. The mass extinction crept unheard. Death's dominion began without a word. And then it goes on for a bit, as described by Fantasia's Justine Smith. And yes, the imagery suggests interesting stuff going on. Excuse me, Spanish language. It is from Chile.
Yeah, hopefully, I think there's a Cristobal Leon connection there.
Yes, there is. It is from a an artistic collaborator, uh,
Yeah, I think
the production company Deluvio, which was looks like it
Cochin
was
and
founded by
Leon.
Niles Atala, not Atala, alongside the Coutinho and Leon animators. So obviously cut enough from the same cloth to work together and found a an animation studio.
Yes, you that was one I didn't expect you to take honestly, because although it's going to be very weird and surreal, so I probably should have put that on my list as well. However, I didn't. I think that was a mistake of mine. I think you're right to highlight that one. The one I have for you is Cuckoo.
Yep, that caught my eye. Certainly the title said one thing, and then I saw I know that guy.
Yeah, it's a cuckoo, which means as a synonym for crazy in English. I don't know if our director knows that, but he probably does.
Yeah, well he was pretty fluent when I chatted with him 5 years ago now.
Yeah. I
The
will
director.
read. He's the director of a movie called Lose, which we reviewed years ago, and Giles interviewed this gentleman. I don't think we had a recording of it. I think it was just in print. The synopsis, programmer's notes, the last thing teenager Gretchen wants to be is taken from her divorced mother's home in the States and dragged halfway around the world by her new father and his new wife. Yet she winds up with Louise, Beth, and Beth's mute preteen daughter Alma in the Bavarian Alps, where her dad and stepmom are redesigning a local resort. They're working for Herr Koenig, an odd bird who initially comes off as friendly, gives Gretchen a desk job at his hotel. From her first night on the job, however, unsettling things begin to happen to her and around her, particularly random attacks by freakish screaming women. Yet Gretchen has no idea just how bizarre and dangerous things are going to get. Gretchen is played by Hunter Schafer from Euphoria, who has a lot of fans. Um, I like the programmer's final comment here. At one point, a detective queries Gretchen about strange events of the previous night, and it's entirely appropriate when her response is, "Which one?" So there's Cuckoo, there's the poster. You can see the poster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fear is its call. Looks like it's already been picked up by Neon, which is great news, meaning we will get to see it for sure. Um, any final thoughts on Cuckoo, John?
No, once I saw that it was from the Liz guy, I stopped reading because I knew I needed
You
to check
knew
it out.
you knew you wanted to check it out. So it looks like he has a much bigger budget this time. This is about 6 years later. Giles, your second choice.
Infinite Summer. Speaking of people I've spoken to before, new film from Miguel Lanzo, who we all know, showing us Jesus showing the way to the highway.
Yes, that was my number three film. So, and I'm looking to bring it up on the website. But you can, if you have it up, you can go ahead and start
Yeah, I
talking about it or reading
almost
the
have it
program.
up. Infinite Summer, Miguel Lanzo. So, yes, this is the latest from the Spanish-born. Shoot, where does he live? They'll tell Estonia. That's it. Not Estonia. Well, anyway,
I think it's
it's from Miguel Alonso, who's been around various points in the world, and also another time when I say, "Oh, I know that name," and didn't really need to read more. But a little breakdown of the story is: it's summer vacation, and Mia, Greta, and Sarah are taking full advantage of their last break before adult responsibilities come knocking on their door. The perfect time to get some sun, meet new faces, mess around with dating apps, and experiment. Unfortunately for Mia, this doesn't last long as her enjoyment is threatened when her childhood best friend becomes more interested in people her own age. They meet Dr. Mindfulness, an app developer with an inflated sense of self who introduces the women to his mindfulness app. However, when the app begins to cause changes in the women's body chemistry and a mysterious connection to the Tallinn Zoo comes to light, they quickly realize there may be such a thing as too much fun.
and there you go. Yes, uh, the the description doesn't give too much away. I think we have high hopes based on the fact that it's Miguel Ianzo, and he's never made a movie that isn't weird. I mean, this is you saw Crumbs, right? I didn't.
Yeah, that was weird.
All three of his movies have been fairly, if this being the third one, have been pretty darn surreal and weird. Jesus shows you the way to the highway, of course, is in our Apocrypha, would have made the main list, except didn't get to see it till after the list was completed. Uh,
Right.
Extremely strange, but very entertaining and easy to follow and funny movie.
Yes.
And we're hoping for more of the same here, with some philosophical components as well.
Yeah, I remember when I interviewed him for Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway, he expressed a considerable interest in technology as it's related to social interaction. And so he's obviously pursued that even more with this latest film of his.
Let me see if I can do one more, Giles, and then we'll go into a lightning round where we just throw out names of the rest of them. This one is called The A-Frame. I chose it largely because the director, Calvin Reeder, is another one who's only done weird movies. Even though this description doesn't sound as weird as his previous movies, The Oregonian and The Rambler, I have a feeling it's going to be very strange. The plot: a talented pianist is crushed when she's diagnosed with a form of bone cancer that directly affects her hands and her ability to play the piano. Her life takes a dramatic turn when the doctor recommends amputation as the only solution to preventing the spread of the disease. This shifts her life from one filled with music, joy, and friends to a series of hospital visits, group counseling sessions, and quantum physics. After exhausting all other options, Donna is presented with a final chance to keep her hand. Enter Sam, a mysterious black market scientist who holds the key to solving all her problems. However, when ambitions get high and egos go unchecked, his intentions come into question. Um, they say here also, finally, through trippy visuals and practical effects, Reader's direction infuses the A-frames with buckets of emotion and blood, grabbing both your hands and hearts. A gripping sci-fi thriller with a pitch black sense of humor. Seems like it could be more conventional than his other two movies, which were definitely surrealist movies. However, I have faith that he's not going to do something extraordinarily conventional here. That's the
Well, why
A-frame.
would he start, right?
Yeah, why would he start? Giles, you want to run down? I don't know if you how many more you have on your list, but other movies that caught you
Yeah, this is
perhaps.
I justify them as necessary for the time we're here, but The Beast Within caught my eye. Chainsaws Were Singing is there's a non-zero chance for that, certainly. Electrophilia mentioned the word Cronenberg and his movie Crash, and so that was like, okay. Frankie Frico, I wrote the name down here, not sure
Just
why.
that alone, yeah.
Um, there's one I can't read.
Yep.
Time Stalker was another non-zero chance. And actually, Ababouine, the closing film, because it had the line, quite literally, a lot of heart. So in theory, it's a 1950s melodrama thing, but that closing descriptor kind of makes me curious what else may be there. Could be a misfire, but
I
I
have
got
a
time.
couple to add. A movie called Cryptic, which is about a search for a missing cryptozoologist that throws out the word surreal, and The Tenants, a South Korean movie where a guy gets some strange visitors. And we are very close to out of time. Um, I should say, I told you not to look at shorts, Giles, for this purposes of this, and yet then I sort of broke the rule because I noticed there is one short that we should mention, which is The Rainbow Bridge. And
Oh,
I
yes.
mentioned that is because we had the director of that, Dimitri, and I'm going to Samakis, I
Yeah,
believe.
I
He
can
was
I
a
can
guest
be
on our
sure to
show.
check out.
Yeah, he was a
Uh,
guest on our show, and we discussed that just a little in a previous episode, and
yeah,
got a chance to see it. So Giles will be at uh, Fantasia next week. We're hoping to check in with him remotely. Pete Turbovich will be here. Anything to add, Giles, before we?
yes, very quickly. Mononoke the movie, psychedelic animated thing that is what my illegible scribble was that we got a sneak peek from Rupert Bottenberg. So I am definitely going to see that.
All right, and that's it. We got to go. Bye bye.
Bye.